Hello, welcome to La Excellence. Welcome to Prelims Marathon session. In this series, we have discussed important places in news as part 1 and this is part 2 video. In this video, we are going to cover 30 important international issues and then related map pointing. The PDF of this session is available in the description box. Please check that once. Our first issue is USA-Taliban deal. This year, in the month of February, USA and Taliban have made a deal in Doha. That's why the name of the deal is Doha Deal. So in that regard, we need to know the geography of Afghanistan, who are part of this, and we should know who are negotiating the peace deal. There is this grouping called 6+2. 6+2 with regard to Afghanistan peace deal. Let us understand who are these people. 6+2, who are these 6+2 countries? In this peace process, the target country is Afghanistan. Neighboring countries of Afghanistan: China, Iran, Pakistan, Tajikistan, Turkmenistan and Uzbekistan. These are neighbors, and then +2 major countries, that is United States and Russia. These are the countries which are negotiating for the peace deal in Afghanistan. But remember, do we have border with Afghanistan? We means here India. Does India has border with Afghanistan? Yes, we have. But as of now, that part is that side of LOC, that is in POK, Pak Occupied Kashmir. So that's why we were not invited for this. Plus, earlier we didn't support for negotiations with Taliban. That is also one of the reasons we were kept out of this particular thing. In this regard, the question can be, which of the following is not a neighboring country of Afghanistan? Something like that. Geography-based questions can be asked. This is a possibility. Doha deal, very, very important one. In IR, we need to read it thoroughly. That's a different issue. For now, from the prelims point of view, we need to know the geography of Afghanistan. That's it. See, this is the map. Pakistan, Iran, Turkmenistan, Uzbekistan, Tajikistan, China. China has a tiny border with Afghanistan. China. These are the countries with which Afghanistan has the border. If you consider this region, India also has the border. But as this is that side of Jammu and Kashmir, we are not considering that as a direct border, especially for the international negotiations. That is why they are not inviting under this 6+2 meeting. Few years back, there was a question asking us match the following important country and cities. Mazar-e-Sharif, this was the city that was asked. Herat, Kandahar, Mazar-e-Sharif and Kabul. These are very important cities in Afghanistan. We need to remember these names. And do you remember this one? Jahdan. Jahdan is a nearby place, or we can say it as a tri-junction between Pakistan, Afghanistan and Iran. So we want to build a railway line to Jahdan from Chabahar to Jahdan railway line. Recently, Iran said we are going to construct it on our own. So that's how news was there. That is why it is also important. Jahdan city, very important. Bandar Abbas is a port city in Iran. This is a sample question. Afghanistan is a landlocked country. Which of the following countries doesn't have the border with it? Iraq. Read it once. Pause the video and read it once and answer this. This is very simple, direct question. The next important issue is Islamic State and its growing influence in Africa. Islamic State, IS, you remember? So IS and its influence is more in northern African countries plus in the countries of Sahel. What is this? Sahel. Read out this name, Sahel. Sahel grasslands. We call this as a ecotone. What is the meaning of ecotone? Ecotone is a transition zone between two biomes. Yes or no? So Sahel, let us map where Sahel grasslands are there. But remember, IS influence is growing in the northern African countries and in the Sahel countries. Look at this. Sahara Desert, Sahel grasslands, and here we have evergreen forests. So Sahel grasslands, they form the boundary between the desert biome to the rainforest biome. That is why Sahel lands are very important. Sahel grasslands are also in news because of this locust swarm. Locust swarm has damaged the crops in this particular region because of the untimely rainfall due to many cyclones, especially in this region. That's why Sahel, this name and this area is in news. Right, regarding Sahel region, this is the question. Please try to read it once and try to answer it. Sahel was in news. What is this? Sahel is a grassland area adjoining Sahara Desert, correct? Sahel region is experiencing multiple threats like climate change, bushfires, locust invasion. Yes. Which of the following are correct? Both. So answer is C. The next important issue that's in news is USA-Mexico border. So this was in news earlier and last year also this was in news. If you have observed, I have placed some of the infographics. And most of these infographics are from The Hindu newspaper. I have collected them from 1.5 years and I am placing them based on the importance. That's why we are looking at this infographic which has come in The Hindu. So why is it important? Yes, United States President said they are going to construct a wall. That's there in news. Why? Why now? Why are we studying it now? Because of the geographical importance of this particular region. There is this river called Rio Grande. Rio Grande forms the boundary between USA and Mexico. And there is this region called Big Bend region. And there is this Rio Grande Valley. After that, it drains into Gulf of Mexico. This can be a question. Rio Grande River originates in and drains into something like that. They can ask the questions. Very, very important. It drains into Gulf of Mexico. See, they have land border, mountain border and river border. USA and Mexico have 3 types of borders: river, land and mountainous border. Sahara Desert also forms the boundary between USA and Mexico. Let's solve this question. Rio Grande River forms the boundary between, very important and very easy, USA and Mexico. The next important geographical location that is in news is Horn of Africa. Why this is in news? Last year one air crash has happened. That's why this was in news. And because of this locust swarm, this was in news. And because of China's growing influence in this particular region, because of that also this is in news. China's growing influence in this particular region. What are the countries that are part of Horn of Africa and why these countries are important? That we should remember. Now, let's understand what are the countries that are part of Horn of Africa. Eritrea, Djibouti, Ethiopia, Somalia. Somalia, Ethiopia, Djibouti and Eritrea, these are important countries in this particular region, Horn of Africa. This Red Sea forms the boundary between Arabian Peninsula and Horn of Africa. And there is this small strait called Bab el-Mandeb. Bab el-Mandeb is the strait between Horn of Africa and the Arabian Peninsula. And this region is Gulf of Aden. Gulf of Aden, Bab el-Mandeb, Red Sea, very, very important. Now China wants to have control over this Bab el-Mandeb and Red Sea. Because of that, it is investing heavily in Eritrea and Djibouti. That's why this is in news. And the small country Djibouti, this has become an investment destination now. Not because of its economical location, but because of its strategic location. That is why that's in news. Now let's observe more from this particular map. Ethiopian highlands. Did you see this? Ethiopian highlands. Ethiopian highlands forms the water divide. And from this particular region, we have many rivers that are originating. We have Blue Nile River, we have White Nile River. These 2 rivers drain into Egypt and then they drain into Mediterranean Sea. Important, very, very important. They originate near Ethiopian highlands. And there are certain rivers in this particular region. African rivers, especially the East African rivers. Very, very important. I have not placed the image over here, map over here. Please go through them once. Right? Very, very important. East African Rift Valley lakes and rivers. For example, Lake Victoria. So like that, lakes and rivers. All these are important. Please go through them once from your map book. Right, this is the region. So Indian Ocean region, and this is Somalia, Gulf. There's migration. That's why this was news. Horn of Africa consisting of Eritrea, Djibouti, Ethiopia and Somalia. Right. Which of the following countries Horn of Africa has maritime boundary? Horn of Africa has maritime boundary with which of the following countries? Which of the following countries? Saudi Arabia and Yemen. Look at the map once again and answer this. Saudi Arabia and Yemen is the answer. Next, which of the following straits connects the Red Sea with Gulf of Aden? Which one? Strait of Bab el Mandeb. So answer is C. The next important issue that is in news is Syria and Turkey region. Last year, this was one of the tense regions across the world. Now, the issue slowly got resolved, but then not completely, but slowly, the importance of this issue got down. That's the reason. Now, let's understand what is this region, why there is conflict. Syria, as we know, civil conflict was going on. There are this group of people called Kurds. Kurds are prominent in Iraq, Syria, as well as in Turkey. And Turkey doesn't want them to cross into their territory. So Turkey said, we are proposing a zone called as safe zone. So all the people who have come out of Syria during the war can move into this safe zone. That means already Kurds are there in that region. It means Turkey wants to destabilize the Kurdistan settlements or Kurds over there in the safe zone. And then Russia said no, because Russia was involved over there. Russia said no. There's a tense situation between Turkey and Russia. Again, both countries came together. USA said, we don't have any interest over there. In such context, let us understand the geography of this particular region. Here, remember one province called Idlib. Idlib is an important province. Idlib province was the last province that the united forces of USA and Russia, Syria together, they have got this particular area from the control of IS. Earlier it was under the control of IS. Now they have got it. Idlib province, very important. This is the map of this particular region. Syria, Turkey, Iraq. Iran doesn't have direct boundary with Syria, but Iran has the boundary with Turkey. Remember this point, right? Syria has boundary with Turkey, Iraq, Jordan, and then Israel, Lebanon. With these countries, Syria has land boundary, and with Cyprus, it has maritime boundary. Syria, what are the neighboring countries? Turkey, Iraq, Jordan, Palestine and Israel, Lebanon, maritime boundary with Cyprus. Okay, let's understand it a little more carefully. Does it have boundary with Mediterranean Sea? Yes, it has maritime border with Mediterranean Sea. And there's this important river that flows through this country called Syria, that is Euphrates. Very, very important, Euphrates. And there is one more river called Tigris. Tigris and Euphrates, these two rivers are very, very important rivers in the Middle East countries. Euphrates forms a lake in Syria that's called Lake Assad, very important lake. And Euphrates and Tigris flow into Iraq and then slowly drain into the Persian Gulf. Now let us see another map. This is the flow map of Euphrates and Tigris rivers. This is Turkey, Syria, Iraq, important, Iraq, and then Iran, Kuwait, Saudi Arabia. Have you heard of Mesopotamian civilization? Mesopotamian civilization is along these rivers only. Euphrates and Tigris rivers forms the boundary for that, right? So Euphrates and Tigris rivers, they merge in Iraq. So if there is a question asking us, Euphrates and Tigris rivers flows in which of the following countries? Let's solve such kind of question. This is Persian Gulf. This is Caspian Sea. Right, Tigris and Euphrates river system flows through which of the following countries? Iran, yes. Syria, yes. Iraq, yes. Turkey, yes. Kuwait, yes. So in Iran and Kuwait, though there's no direct flow of these rivers, the tributaries, etc., they flow in these countries. That's why the answer is all the above. Next, safe zone that is in news is related to Syria. The next important issue is Iran and USA conflict. With regard to this conflict, the entire Persian region, Persian Gulf region is in news. So let us understand what is that. What happened between Iran and USA recently? Earlier in 1970s, there were many conflicts. That's not our concern. Now, what happened recently? USA said we are moving out of this JCPOA's agreement. What is JCPOA? Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action. This was signed during Obama's time. Under that, USA said it is going to lift the sanctions on Iran, and Iran said we are going to bring down our nuclear program. That's the agreement. So where are the nuclear power facilities located in Iran? Let us understand that once. And what has happened recently? Which are the places that are in news? Let us understand that also. Right. See, Arak heavy water reactor, Fardo fuel enrichment unit, Natanz fuel enrichment unit. So these three locations are in news because USA claims that Iran is restarting this particular project for developing the nuclear weapon. In future they want to develop a nuclear weapon. That's why they are going for this nuclear program. That's the complaint of USA. Natanz, Fardo and Arak. These places are in Iran and these are famous for its nuclear program. That's why USA said yes, it has the ambitions. That's why it is developing them. We don't want that. And then the agreement that was signed in 2015, that is JCPOA agreement, that doesn't have any powers for that. So USA said we are moving out of it unilaterally because that JCPOA agreement was signed with other countries also. P5 countries are part of it. Germany, which is not part of P5, is also part of this JCPOA. All these countries have made an agreement with Iran. And now USA unilaterally, without consulting these countries, have come out of it. That's why this is in news. And now we understood the locations where this nuclear enrichment is happening. But Iran said we are not developing. USA said no, we want to come out of it anyway. So after that, so much conflict has happened between the two countries. And then Iran said, anyway, you are not going to enter into the agreement again. Why should we respect this JCPOA? We are going to develop our own nuclear program. That's what is announced by Iran. And then many things happened between the two countries. Drone attack on Saudi Arabia and killing of Iranian military general in Iraq. So many things have happened. Let us understand the map or geographical location of Iran. See, this one is Caspian Sea. This is north of Iran, and this is Persian Gulf, Gulf of Oman, very important. So Caspian Sea, Gulf of Persia, Gulf of Oman. These three are surrounding the Iran, the country of Iran, very important. That means it has ports in the northern side, it has ports in the southern side. Let's understand this question. Iran is not surrounded by which of the following? Caspian Sea? No, it is surrounded by it. Persian Gulf? No. Gulf of Oman? Yes, it is there. So Red Sea? No. Red Sea is not there. That's why answer is D. Now let us understand a little closely over Strait of Hormuz. Very, very important. Strait of Hormuz is a bend in this Persian Gulf. So this one forms the boundary between UAE and Iran. This one between Oman and Iran. This one between UAE and Iran, because this is UAE. Oman is here and Oman's a little part is located over north. That's why it is news. Let's go through this. So this small part is of Oman. And this one is UAE. So that's why this Gulf region has maritime boundary and it is equally divided between Iran and these countries. If we observe it a little closely, we can understand this. Oman, United Arab Emirates, and this strait is called Strait of Hormuz. There is this important island called Qom Island. So I'm expecting a question from this. In Iran, there is this important island called Qom Island, Larak Island, which is situated in the middle of the Strait of Hormuz. That's very, very important. Larak Island belongs to whom? Iran. Qom Island belongs to Iran, right? And then Bandar-e-Abbas is a port in Iran. In this region, this country is Bahrain, a small island in Persian Gulf. In Bahrain, USA's fifth fleet of headquarters is located in Bahrain. So that's a direct threat to Iran, yes or no? So likewise, many things have happened. On Saudi Arabia, there is this drone attack on Saudi Arabia that has also led to a conflict. Now let's solve this question. Larak and Qasim Islands that are in news belongs to whom? Iran. Right, this is the drone attack over Saudi Arabia. There is this particular country called Yemen. Yemen has boundary with the Red Sea and Gulf of Aden. In Yemen, civil war is going on. In this context, there is this rebel group called Houthi rebels. These people said we have launched this particular drone which has caused the damage in Saudi Arabia. They said we have sent those drones, unmanned aerial vehicles which have attacked the region in Saudi Arabia. But then many people believe that the Houthi rebels are supported by Iran. So Iran has sent them, or Iran has supported them in providing the ballistic missiles which are fitted to the unmanned aerial vehicles or drones. That's why again the tense situation has continued. From Iran, the person from Iran visited this Iraq. The military general visited Iraq, and then USA's forces have attacked him. He was killed in Iraq. So likewise, many things have happened. But for our interest, please remember the geographical locations only for prelims point of view for geography. Right, Houthi rebels in news belongs to Yemen. Right, this is the person who was killed. Soleimani was killed in this attack. After this, Aramco is a company in Saudi Arabia. Attack on this one, and he was near this place, Baghdad, and was killed or assassinated. Ain al-Assad Air Base, very very important. Ain al-Assad base is located in Iraq, which is used by USA now. So that's why they were able to target him. Now, Ain al-Assad Air Base is located in which country? Iraq. The next important issue is Chabahar Port. Chabahar Port is located in Iran. Here we have the interest. What is that? So we are developing this particular port, and we also wanted to develop this particular railway line connecting this particular place. Chabahar to Jahdan, which connects to the Afghanistan. But then railway line project, it got stalled now. Right, there is this yellow color line that indicates north-south transport corridor. North-south transport corridor connects Russia, South Asia to Iran and to India. That's why this particular place is important. See, Chabahar Port is not just important for exporting or importing something to Iran and Afghanistan. It is important, and it is a lifeline port for connecting to Central Asia. That's why that port is very important to us. Right, which of the following is called Gateway to Central Asia by India? Which of the following is called Gateway to Central Asia? Chabahar Port. Gwadar Port is located in Pakistan. Gwadar Port is primarily built by China. Next issue is Amazon rainforest. Last year Amazon forest fire happened, and last year oil spill near this particular coast, Brazilian eastern coast, has happened. We have recorded a video on important disasters in news. Please try to watch that because that's very important. From disasters, we can expect 1 or 2 questions. Right. Now, Amazon rainforest. There were huge number of forest fires that are happening in the Amazon's rainforest. These forests are called lungs for the world, lungs of the world, and these are on fire, lungs on fire. So the forest fires are increasing, especially after the new government. This one is the tropical or equatorial forest. Equatorial forest, that means every day in the night it rains. But still, such huge forest fires are happening. That means most of them are man-made. They are clearing these forests for land, for agricultural land, or for mining, or for plantation crops, etc. That's why that is important. So in which countries Amazon forests are located? That can be a question, right? Look at this particular map. Ecuador, Cambodia, Venezuela. Guinea, Suriname, French Guiana, Brazil, Peru, Bolivia. In all these countries, these equatorial or Amazon forests are located. Right, Amazon rainforest is home for which of the famous rivers in the world? Which of the famous rivers? Yellow River is in China. Rio de Grande forms the boundary between Mexico and USA. Nile River is in Africa, as or no? Egypt, it is called as lifeline of Egypt. River Orinoco is an important river in the Amazon rainforest. Very, very important. There is this basin called Orinoco Basin. Next issue is Siberian forest fires. Last year, Siberia is a region in Russia. This one, eastern part and middle part, especially in the middle part is called as Siberia, and then this is called Forest region, Siberia, European Russia. That's how we can divide this as. In Siberia, forest fires have happened. That's why this was in news. Forests. The Siberian region, where this region is located, such kind of questions can be asked. With regard to Siberia, there's one more thing in news. What is that? Power of Siberia pipeline. Power of Siberia pipeline is a gas pipeline which connects forest region of Russia and then China. It connects China and then forest region, especially the Sakhalin Islands, and then Vladivostok. Very, very important. The city with which North Korea has the boundary. Right, Vladivostok forest region got connection with this power of Siberia, and then the gas is supplied to China under this. Let's understand the Siberian region. The Russia is divided into two parts: Ural Mountain, western part, eastern part. Eastern part is eastern Russia. So the Siberian region is east of Ural Mountain, so it's part of eastern Russia. There are many rivers in this eastern part, especially the Ob River. Very, very important river, Ob River. Ob River is an important river in this particular region. There is this deepest lake in the world, freshwater lake, that's Lake Baikal. Very, very important, Lake Baikal. And then Kamchatka Peninsula. Please go through the map of Russia once. It is very important. There is this particular island called Novoya Zemlya. This island is important. The city of Murmansk, one of the largest cities with less population. That's also in news. Read about that. Olga River, Europe's longest river, important, that drains into Caspian Sea. Now let's solve this question. Power of Siberia is a gas pipeline that connects which of the two countries? That connects Russia and China. Then there's one more issue with regard to Russia, that's Northern Sea Route. Very, very important. Northern Sea Route. In general, see, let's say from this place to Japan, if they want to export something through shipping, so they can do so through this Suez Canal route. So they need to cross the Mediterranean Sea, Suez, and then Red Sea, Gulf of Aden, and then come to Indian Ocean, Strait of Malacca, and then South China Sea, Eastern China Sea, and then come to Japan. So this entire route they need to follow. But now, due to the melting of Arctic ice, there is this new route called Northern Sea Route, North Sea Route, which passes through the Arctic Circle. So this can shorten the distance between Asia and Europe. That's very, very important. Advantages of Northern Sea Route. Rotterdam to Yokohama. Yokohama is a place in Japan. So it takes 9 days, but now to Shanghai it takes 5.5 days now because of this Northern Sea Route. Plus, due to climate change, global warming, the ice sheet, even during the winters in the Arctic region, is thin. Because of that, Northern Sea Route has become a viable route now. But there's a higher chance of pollution in this region, yes or no? So many shipping lanes. So because of that, pollution can be a chance. So everything need to be kept in mind. Sustainable development need to be kept in mind. There's one more issue with regard to the Russia and Arctic region. That's Norilsk oil spill. Recently this has happened. Norilsk is a place in Russia. In that particular region, especially in the Siberian region, we have this land called permafrost land. So because of the melting of permafrost in this region, Siberian region of Norilsk, what has happened? Oil spill has happened. This oil has flowed through this particular river called Ambaranya River. Through this, it has reached Kara Sea, which is part of Arctic. Kara Sea, which is part of Arctic. So this is considered one of the huge oil spills in modern Russia. Now let's solve the question. Northern Sea route is an alternative to Suez Canal route, short route between Europe and Asia, Arctic route, all the above. Yes or no? All the above. It's an alternative to Suez Canal route. It's short route between Europe and Asia. It's through Arctic. That's why all the above is the answer. Next, this year in January, Australian forest fires have happened. In that particular context, there is this particular national park that was in news called Wollemi National Park. Very, very important national park. In this particular national park, there's this particular pine, which is protected, which is considered one of the oldest species, and these are extinct in the wild. There are only few, 200 growing and under the protection. So, but fortunately, even after this fire, these trees survived. That's why this news. Wollemi National Park. Very, very important. So there's one more issue that is in news. What is that? Whales. 400 whales, nearly 400 whales have stranded near to this particular place called Tasmanian coast. Tasmania is an island south of Australia. Belongs to Australia but south of Australia. Near that, nearly 400 whales got stranded. That's why this was in news. Question can be, Wollemi National Park that is in news is located in Australia. The next issue is Venezuelan conflict. Last year in Venezuela, inflation rates have increased and then people have protested for changes in the political system. They wanted new president. So huge kind of protests have happened last year. So in that context, if we observe this country, Venezuela, there is this river called Orinoco River and mountains called Andes Mountains in South America. Andes Mountains, remember this. And Orinoco River Basin is very important for oil and natural gas. See, if we observe here, Venezuela, Andes Mountains, Lake Maracaibo, very, very important. Lake Maracaibo is also an important place for oil and natural gas drilling. Right, this entire place, Orinoco River, this region consists of Amazon rainforests. And by the way, Angel Falls are located on Orinoco River. Right, Maracaibo Basin is important for oil and natural gas. Same way, we have this particular basin region which is also called Orinoco Basin. This has now become an important source of money for Venezuela in the form of oil and natural gas extraction. This is the map of major oil and gas regions. So this one, Orinoco Belt Venezuela, Gulf of Mexico, Northern Alaska, here North Africa, Middle Eastern region. Here we have Ural region, Western Siberian region, NC Katanga region, North Sea, very, very important, Brent crude oil, Brent Sea, North Sea, Niger Delta is are important. In China, we have eastern side, we have the oil and gas regions. Now, Venezuela has one of the largest oil reserves in the world. Which of the following is the largest oil basin in this country? Which one? Orinoco Basin. Lake Maracaibo Basin is there, but largest one is Orinoco. The next important issue that is in news is USA North Korea talks on denuclearization. Our both the heroes met, but there's no conclusion. Met many a times, but then finally they didn't agree for the deal. That's the issue now. And now in the Korean Peninsula, North Korea, South Korea, they are divided by 38th parallel. Let us understand the geography of this region a bit. Right, this one is South Korea, North Korea. In North Korea has boundary with Russian Federation, China, and then South Korea. Very, very important. North Korea, Russian Federation and China. 38th parallel forms the DMZ, demilitarized zone between South Korea and North Korea. and Japan Sea forms the maritime boundary between Korean Peninsula and Japan and Korean Peninsula divided by Japan Sea. And there is this particular mountain called Mount Pektu, very, very important. Our Kim visited this particular place last year, Mount Pektu, that's why it was in news. Now, Mount Pektu that's in news is in which country? North Korea. The next important issue in this region is South China Sea. South China Sea. So there's a growing tension between China and the Southeast Asian countries over the islands and the claims of China in this particular region. South China Sea, Paracel Islands, Sparkly Islands, and here we have Skalbow Shoal. So there's one more region over here. So these three regions are claimed by China, but these countries, Vietnam, Philippines, Malaysia, they object to the claims of China in this particular region. China has built artificial islands over there and then said, see, around this island, 200 nautical miles zone is ours. 200 nautical mile zone is ours. Like that, China has claimed a particular region through this particular line called 9-dash line, very, very important. 9-dash line, they said in between this entire region is ours. Like that, China has claimed 9-dash line is in news related to what? Kind of questions can be asked. And there's one more important issue over here. This is Gulf of Thailand. This is Indian Ocean region. Now, China wants to build an alternative route to the Strait of Malacca. This one is Strait of Malacca. So, if this is called choke point, means if this access gets cut off, then the entire trade, etc., that gets impact. That's why China, under its One Belt One Road project, has made a deal with Thailand to build a particular canal over here, like Panama Suez canals. Panama Suez canals are artificial canals. Similarly, this is called Isthmus of Kra. So China and Thailand have planned for Kra canal, but somehow Thailand said, we are not going to build it now. So this Kra canal issue is still in pending. Now, China has recently proposed to fund Kra Canal. Kra Channel is located in Thailand. 9-dash line that is in news is related to South China Sea. Next, East China Sea issue. With regard to this East China Sea issue, there's this country called Taiwan. East China Sea issue is between our Japan and China. So Japan and China, they have this East China Sea in between. There are many small islands in between this one. So there are two important islands called Senkaku Islands, Ryukyu Islands, Senkaku and Ryukyu Islands. So China says these islands are ours, Japan says these islands are theirs. That's why there is a conflict between the two countries in East China Sea. So if there is a question on this, Senkaku Islands is in conflict between which two countries? Or these are also called Senkaku Divoyu Islands, Senkaku Islands. These are in conflict in which zone? East China Sea zone. Between which countries? China and Japan. Next, Senkaku Ryukyu Islands are disputed territories between whom? Between China and Japan. The next one is Nathauna Island issue. Nathauna Islands. Nathauna Sea is there, South China Sea. Nathauna Islands are there. Traditionally, Indonesia has claimed these islands. Recently, China said that region is ours and it has sent away the fishermen from this region, sent away the fishermen of Indonesia from this region. So Nathauna Sea belongs to Indonesia and China claims it. That's why this is the news. Nathauna Islands, North Nathauna Sea. This Indonesia says it's the region of Indonesia, but China says it's ours. See, where is China? Where is Nathauna Island? But China says, no, this is our 9-dash line. This Nathauna Sea region comes under our 9-dash line. That's why this region is ours. That's the conflict now. Nathauna Islands recently in news belongs to whom? Indonesia. Next, China-Taiwan issue. What is that? Taiwan is a small island over here. In between there is a water channel called Taiwan Strait. Recently what has happened? China's aircrafts have crossed this particular line, Taiwan Strait. At that time, USA's officials were visiting Taiwan, and they have made a deal, arms export, etc. deals with Taiwan. But then China says Taiwan is ours. So how can you make deals with it? You cannot make deals with it. That's the question of China. Taiwan says no, we are an independent country, but China says no, you are part of me. And then south of China, we have two regions called Hong Kong and Macau. Hong Kong protests, you might have heard about them, read about them many a times. Hong Kong was under whose control? UK's control for over 99 years. After that, a few years back, UK has transferred that region to China again because that's the part of China, and they were using it as a trade post. UK was using it as a trade post, but that's actually part of China. Macau also like that only. So these two are part of China. So China says like that. Anyway, with China and Macau, we have one nation, two systems. One nation, two systems means their political economic situation is different. That's why two different system is followed over there. Similarly, I will give you semi-autonomy. So please be part. Taiwan says no, we are a different country. Why should we listen to you? That kind of conflict is going on between China and Taiwan. And USA has its own interest. That's why USA is supporting Taiwan. Right, this is Macau. Macau is part of China. Yes, Macau is part of China. Now, which of the following territories is or are formally part of China's one nation, two systems policy? Macau, Hong Kong. Taiwan is not officially part of this. So, what is the answer now? D. Both B and C are part of one nation, two systems policy. Now, let's move on to West Asia. Golan Heights. Golan Heights is a place in Syria. So, what is that? Let us understand. So, between Israel and Arab countries, there was a war. During that particular war in 1967, Israel has occupied this place called Golan Heights. Why this region is important? This region forms the watershed, and this has many lakes and rivers. As Israel is water scarce country, it requires water, yes or no? So there is this lake called Sea of Galilee, Lake Tigris or Sea of Galilee. So Lake Tigris is another name of this, or we call it as Lake Galilee. And then this particular region, there is a small zone called Observer Zone. So still it's under control of Israel, but it is recognized as part of Syria. Then why is it in news? USA said Golan Heights is part of Israel. So USA has officially recognized Golan Heights, which is disputed region, as part of Israel. That's the problem now. There is this area of separation rightfully under United Nations. Then also unilaterally, how can USA declare that region as part of Israel? That's the question now. And there's one more issue. USA has shifted its embassy to Jerusalem. Jerusalem is a place that is in conflict between Israel and Palestine. Earlier, most of the countries recognized Tel Aviv, which is a place in Israel, this one as the capital, and they have placed all their consulates, embassies over there. But now Jerusalem, which is part of West Bank region of Palestine, USA said that's the official capital of Israel, so we are placing our embassy over there. Isn't it against the international norms? That's the question now. That's the question. Why? How can US does that? How can US do that? Now, there's one more issue. There is this plan called West Bank Annexation. Israel's Prime Minister Netanyahu said the country is going to annex the Jordan Valley. So Jordan is a country over there. Jordan River is there. To cross that river, there is a bridge, Sheikh Hussein Bridge. So they want to have control over this. And there is this particular lake called Dead Sea. Though the name is sea, but that is a lake. So Dead Sea is at that side of the Jordan River. So Jordan River is there, and it wants to control the West Bank region, and it wants to annex that region. But what has happened? Recently, UAE and Bahrain have made a deal with Israel, and Israel said, okay, we are temporarily stopping this annexation plan, as if it has the right to annex that particular region. Now let's understand one more thing. So Mediterranean Sea is at the west of Israel, and we have Lake Tigris or Sea of Galilee. We have this river Jordan, Dead Sea, and it drains into Gulf of Aqaba. Right at the at the southern end of Israel, we have Gulf of Aqaba. Please remember that Gulf of Aqaba, which drains into Red Sea. Gulf of Aqaba is part of Red Sea. Very important. Now let's see this question. Which of the following is or are water bodies around Israel? Sea of Galilee? Yes. Jordan River? Yes. Mediterranean Sea? Yes. Dead Sea? Yes. Red Sea? Yes. So what is the answer? All the above. Next. Recently, Golan Heights has been declared as part of Israel by USA. Originally, it belongs to whom? Syria. Just now we discussed West Bank annexation plan, Sea of Galilee, which is part of Golan Heights, and this one is West Bank. This city is Jerusalem, and they want to annex this particular region. A region, very, very important region. Right, Israelis already have made settlements into this West Bank, though West Bank is part of West Bank and Gaza. These two are supposed to be Palestine. But then these blue color dots here, over here, these are Israeli settlements, that is construction of Israelis. So these are already there. So that's the problem over there. Now they want to annex this particular region, Dead Sea, right, Mediterranean Sea. Tel Aviv, here we have our embassy. The next important issue is East Mediterranean conflict. What is this East Mediterranean conflict? In the Eastern Mediterranean region, we have this particular place. So there is this island called Crete, very, very important, Crete Island, which belongs to Greece. And Patmos Island, Aegean Sea, very, very important, Aegean Sea. Turkey has went for claiming this particular region for oil and natural gas exploration. Turkey ship has went for surveying over there. And Cyprus said, that's ours. Greece said, see, this is Crete Island, so this is ours. So likewise, they have conflicting claims over this particular region. That is why that this region is experiencing a huge conflict. France said, shall I send the warships? Then they said, let's talk. But Turkey said, no talks. That's our region. That's it. That's the issue that's going on over there. See, there is this island called Kos Island, Bodrum Island. So there are Patmos Island. So these are uninhabited islands in Aegean Sea. So already Aegean Sea region is a conflict region between Turkey and Greece since many years. So now again this particular region has come under conflict. This is called East Mediterranean Sea and East Mediterranean conflict. Kos Island, Crete is important. Crete, remember that name. Cyprus is there. And Turkey says, Northern Cyprus is ours. Southern Cyprus is independent country. So, this region belongs to us. That's the claim of Turkey. The next issue is Brexit. Brexit is UK leaving the 28-member union called the European Union. European Union is a group of 28 countries. Now UK has left this particular grouping. Now we have only 27 member countries. These are the member countries of European Union. Very important. This is the island of UK. UK consists of Northern Ireland, Scotland, Wales and England. These are 4 components of UK, and they have North Sea on that side. Between France and UK we have English Channel. English Channel, very, very important. English Channel is between which 2 countries? France and UK. France and UK. Recently there is this Google Doodle which was dedicated to a person from India. She has crossed this English Channel, that's why it was news, English Channel. The next important issue is Mount Matterhorn. We know what has happened during COVID-19, against the fight of COVID-19 in the earlier days. So to recognize India's efforts on the Mount Matterhorn, India's national flag was projected. Now let's understand few points regarding Mount Matterhorn through this question. Mount Matterhorn. It It is part of Alps mountain chain. Yes or no? Yes. It is located in Switzerland. Yes. It forms the boundary between Switzerland and Italy. Yes. All these are correct. So answer is D. The next important issue that is in news is Qom City. Qom City is an important pilgrimage site for Shia Muslims. Few people were stranded in this Qom City when the sudden lockdown was announced. That's why it was in news. It's located in Iran. And the people who were there in Qom City, because of lack of facilities, because they were stranded over there, they got infected with COVID-19. Because of that also this was in news. Now question can be asked like this. Qom City that is in news, which is also an important Shia pilgrimage center, belongs to which country? It belongs to Iran. The next important issue, that is geographical location, is Gallipoli. What is that? Gallipoli, Battle of Gallipoli. Erdogan, our Turkish president, said that if Kashmir is not given its autonomy, it is going to be a battle of Gallipoli. Gallipoli means a battle wherein the British forces have lost miserably. Such kind of thing can happen to India, something like that he has commented upon. Then we said, you don't have any business to talk like that. Erdogan has said that. So where is this Gallipoli exactly located? Right, let us understand this one. This is Aegean Sea, Turkey. This is called Anatolian Peninsula. So Aegean Sea and Black Sea. In between we have the Sea of Marmara, very important. City of Constantinople, or we call it as Istanbul, is located on this side of the bank. And this peninsula, the small one, this is called as Gallipoli Peninsula. Right, this one, a small one, Gallipoli Peninsula. And we have Dardanelles Strait. Dardanelles Strait is in this particular region is Sea of Marmara. It forms the boundary, it forms the mid ground for Black Sea and Aegean Sea. Very important. Right, Gallipoli Peninsula that is in news is in where? It's in Turkey. The next important issue is Trans-Himalayan Railway. Nepal and China have signed for this Trans-Himalayan Railway line. Nepal wants to reduce the dependency upon India because Nepal is a landlocked country. So for any access, it has to come to India, right? Landlocked country. That's why it wants to be independent of India, made a deal with China. But recently, you know what has happened? China is slowly occupying part of Nepal. That such news articles are there in news. We don't know how much authenticate they are, but that's what is happening. Let's solve this question. Trans-Himalayan Railway is a connectivity project between China and Nepal. Next important island that is in news is Diogo Garcica Island. Very important. These islands are part of Chagos Archipelago. Chagos Islands are Chagos Archipelago. This Diogo Garcica Island now is under the control of USA. Actually, it is Chagos Islands or Chagos Archipelagos are claimed by Mauritius and UK. Recently, the International Court of Justice said these belong to Mauritius. So it has asked the UK to vacate that particular island. Chagos Archipelago is group of many islands. One of the islands among it is Diogo Garcica. UK has given this particular island as a lease to USA. USA, it is using it for its navy. So that's why it is in news. And why it's in news? Mauritius wants UK to vacate this particular island. So important islands in Indian Ocean region: Maldives, Seychelles, Madagascar is a big one, and this Mauritius, Chagos Archipelago, very, very important. In the Chagos Archipelago, we have this small island called Diogo Garcica that is claimed by UK but belongs to Mauritius. It is given to USA, so it's presently under control of USA for 99 years. On a 99-year lease, it is given to USA. Right, let's solve this question. Diogo Garcica Island is under control of USA as of now. The next issue is Beirut Blasts. Beirut. Lebanon is a country. Lebanon, Middle East country. So Lebanon has boundary with Mediterranean Sea. We have a port called Beirut Port. In this particular port, there's a huge blast that has happened recently. So ammonium nitrate, due to oxidization, the blasts have happened. So it has boundary with Mediterranean Sea. In Lebanon, we have a group called Right, this is about Abraham Accords. Abraham Accords signed between Israel, Bahrain, and UAE. Three countries together signed this particular accord, Abraham Accord Declaration. And we have our Trump, obviously. So Trump also signed on this. As of now, the Arab countries which have the agreements with Israel are Jordan, Egypt. Recently, Bahrain and UAE. So overall, 4 countries have agreements with Israel, and Saudi Arabia is also keeping quiet. Initially, generally, Saudi Arabia is against Israel because all these are Muslim majority countries, and Israel is occupying this particular region and throwing away the Palestinians over there. So that's why it is against that country, but now economics win over religion and other solid oddities. So that's why they are also keeping quiet. Right, Bahrain. In Bahrain, we have this particular USA's 5th Navy Fleet. Bahrain is also called as Pearl of Persian Gulf. Pearl of a small island of Persian Gulf. This is UAE. With UAE, it shares the maritime boundary with Iran. Strait of Hormuz is nearby, but Strait of Hormuz is directly shared between Oman and Iran. It's not UAE and Iran, it's Oman and Iran. Palm Islands, very important. Abu Dhabi, capital of United Arab Emirates. And there is this important desert called Rab al Khali. Rab al Khali Desert is shared between Saudi Arabia and UAE. Very, very important. The last issue for today is Californian forest fires. Californian forest fires have happened. So here on this side we have Californian current. This is a cold current, because of which there's large scale desertification over there on this side. Due to climate change and the cold current influence, droughts, etc., Californian currents on this side are a normal phenomena. And it has happened during this time. In California, they experience Mediterranean climate. Mediterranean climate means in winter seasons they experience rainfall. In summer seasons, it's very dry. Because of that, forest fire vulnerability is more. So remember, cold current of California, Mediterranean climate. Please remember these two. And there is this national park called Los Padres National Forest Region, which got impacted due to this particular forest fire. That's about this places in news. So we have covered 50 topics overall. Please go through part 1 also. This is part 2. So with this, we are ending this places in news series. And already we have recorded 13 videos in Prelims Marathon session. We are going to record 3 more videos in this series by day after tomorrow. That is by 26th by 27th we are going to complete this particular series. Go through all of them. PDFs are available in the description box. Please go through them. Write the exam well. All the very best.